Hi everyone, Russ Thomas here from RST Coaching Academy. Welcome to a new episode of Money Talks, where we talk about money and how to make more of it. Hey, everybody out there in internet land, you know who this is. This is Russ again with RST Coaching Academy, host of Money Talks. And I have another guest on today. It's a new friend of mine. Pardon his first name. I think it's Russ Yeager from Atlanta, Georgia. And this guy is a muscle man. He is a bodybuilder, a trainer, and he's going to talk about his business. He's going to talk about how in the world he got into that business, how it's working for him, and tell you his story and give you some advice as to how you can get a business going for yourself as well. So without further ado, Russ, take the helm here, and let's listen to you talk about yourself. I'll interrupt you once in a while to ask a question or run off at the mouth or something. But anyway, the floor is yours. So go ahead, pal.
Yeah, Russ, appreciate you having me on, man. And we won't mess each other's names up. So that's a good thing.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not a bodybuilder. I did natural bodybuilding for a while, but I'm a 49-year-old dude, dad of three, have a couple of businesses, investor, husband, most of all, I should have said this first, man of God. And at least I try to be. And, I believe in staying in shape. I think it's important. I work with a lot of, I'm a body transformation coach, I guess, if you want to give me a title. Really, for lack of a better term, I'm a life coach, but I just start with the physical and the health, because I believe if you don't have your health, not only are you increasing your risk of, heart disease, cancer, dying early, all the bad, being immobile, all the bad stuff we don't want to have happen as we get older, that does happen if we don't take care of ourselves. But also, like I said, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, and the number one excuse they give me is, I don't have time. I know I should, but I don't have time. And I ask them this question, if you had a piece of equipment in your company, worth $1 billion, that was the most important asset in your company, would you run it 24/7, redline it, never do maintenance on it, and hope and pray it doesn't break down? And the answer is, of course not. But I help them understand, like, you are your most important asset in your business. And so being fit and healthy is not optional. It needs to be an integral part of your business plan. And you see it, we both work with Grant Cardone. I mean, look at Grant. He's 64 years old. And about 5 or 6 years ago, he started making a very concerted effort on his health. Maybe it's a coincidence that his business has absolutely exploded in the past 6 years. I don't think so. I mean, you see it with entrepreneurs. When you're fit, when you're healthy, when you feel good, you not only have more energy and give yourself the chance to live longer so you have more time to grow your business. But, we all want that immediate benefit. Like when you're fit, when you're healthy, fair or not, people judge you on how you look immediately. And if you are strong, fit, healthy, you've got that confidence, people can feel that. It makes them attracted to you and want to do business with you.
Wow, very good. And, Jesus said, what does it profit a man if he gains the world and loses his soul? What does it profit a man if he gains the world and has lost his health? And people, even wealthy people, get sicker than dogs because they haven't taken care of themselves, right? And it's just a lifetime thing. And I shouldn't be talking like I'm talking like I know everything about it, but man, you're talking to me. It's just say, well, I don't have time. But if we're struggling, if suddenly our health goes, we're going to make the time. It'd be better to make the time to keep us healthy so we didn't get sick in the first place, right?
100%, brother. That's my mission, because, a lot of entrepreneurs, they spend their lives making money and, growing their wealth, and they neglect their health. And then they spend, any amount of money it takes to get their health back. Mm-hmm. And, it doesn't have to. And then there's people that, are obsessed with the gym and the health. And I was that way a long time, and neglect making money or their family or, their spiritual life. And it doesn't have to be, and they don't have any money, they're broke. It doesn't have to be that way, and that's one of the things, if you want to go way back of why I do what I do. I grew up, the chubby kid, I'm 6'6", I'm a tall guy. So I was never like massively obese. I could hide it, but at the pool, I wore the white t-shirt, trying to hide the big spread of fat around my stomach. My friends all had the flat stomach, the abs, and they would tease me. And, I don't think they were trying to be mean, but it really bothered me. And I wanted to be one of those, fit, lean guys. We didn't have internet back then, but, I'd look at the magazines like, oh man, I want to have abs. And, I started running. I didn't know what to do. I saw my dad running, and my body didn't change. I love to eat. I can eat, like, literally. That's the other excuse. Russ, you don't understand how much I love food. Like, I guarantee anybody listening, I love food more than you do, and I can eat more than you. I've won literally pizza eating contest. There's, if you guys remember the Big Pie in the Sky, or Man versus Food, right? Where he would have these eating challenges at these restaurants. And so one of them was Big Pie in the Sky in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I am. And him and his partner failed that. You have to eat this enormous, I think it's like a 15-pound pizza, with all the meats and everything. You have an hour to eat it with two people. Him and his partner failed. So I'm, half proud and half embarrassed to say that I've won that challenge. So I've struggled with overeating my whole life. I get it. Like, food is good. I got into strength training in my late teens, early 20s, and it really made me realize, and more people are realizing this, like, strength training, that's what transformed. That's not the only thing that's going to give you the muscle and, make you look good, good for your bones, your ligaments, your joints as we age, make you stronger. But also strength training is what's going to transform your body and actually turn you into a fat burning machine versus, cardio. Good for your heart, burn some calories. But like, if I had to pick one, strength training all day long. But I didn't really get the food part down. And, I got into my 20s. I went to work for one of the big CPA firms. And, I'm traveling a lot, late night business dinners, drinking and partying in my 20s. And, I wasn't in horrible shape, but I got to 27 years old, Russ. And I was like, man, you never said what, 11-year-old Russ said you're going to, be one of the guys with the abs. You didn't do it. And so I got, and this is the key to any change. I made a decision. I made a commitment, and then I said, okay, I need a plan and I need a mentor. I'm very big. Obviously, you're a coach. I'm a coach. But I'm huge on coaching. I've used coaches my whole life in fitness and health and business and finance. And so I hired a coach, and then I needed accountability. That's the next step. You need accountability. If you try to do it on your own, I tell people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, like, if you hadn't done it on your own yet, you need a coach. You need, or at least somebody to hold you accountable. And so, so I hired a coach, entered a physique transformation contest in 12, did everything my coach said. I'm very competitive. So if I do something, I want to win. And in 12 weeks went from over 20% body fat down to 5% body fat. So totally shredded, basically trained like a bodybuilder. Won the contest. People, got to be a sponsored athlete at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, which is the biggest, sports expo that exists still today. And, got to be a sponsor, or got sponsored by the supplement company that put on the competition. And people, started writing for some of the bodybuilding fitness magazines. And people at work at the gym were like, dude, what happened to you? Can you show me? And I knew, Russ, this is what God put me on earth to do, quit my job as a CPA. And, 22 years later, me and my team, I should say, because I can't do it without my team, have helped a lot of people, but I lived that whole natural bodybuilding lifestyle for a lot of years, where I would, work out 2 hours of weights in the morning, hour of cardio at night. I'd eat my chicken and broccoli out of Tupperware, every 2 hours. And it worked. And I trained my clients like that early on. So here's what you got to do. And, if they dedicated themselves in 3 months, boom, they're completely different. But what I noticed is most of them started going back, because that's not, I was in my 20s. I was willing to have my life revolve around working out and eating. When you're in your 40s, 50s, even 30s, you got kids, you got job, like your life can't revolve around it. So as I got older, especially started having kids, I'm like, my goals changed a little. I want to feel good. I want to have energy. I want to live a long time. I want to have, energy for my family and my business and my mission. And I want to be able to eat some fun foods, pizza, ice cream, cheeseburgers every once in a while. And I want to still have abs. And so the answer, so I started going on this quest. Can you have it all? And the answer is yes, when you have the right plan, right strategy, and I work out 3 to 4 days a week now, and I always tell my clients that consistency beats frequency all day long. It's the consistency and doing the right things. And other people ask me, like, I'm proud of winning that contest 22 years ago. That was cool. Way more proud of staying in shape for the last 22 years. Anybody can get in shape short term, but the key is actually staying in shape for the rest of your lives. And when when somebody comes to work with me, I tell them in 3 to 6 months, we can transform your body, get you any physical result you want, right? Now, if they lose 80, 100 pounds or more, that may be a year project. But for most people, 3 to 6 months, I can help you achieve or exceed any physical goal that you want. And my most important goal is your most important goal. But my personal most important goal is that not only you get in the shape you want, but you have the skills, the discipline, the mindset, and the habits that now you can maintain that for the rest of your life.
Right. If you learn that discipline. I growing up, high school, I was not in sports or anything. I just didn't care for any of that team sports stuff. And I've heard that one of the things about doing sports is it helps you learn discipline in order to excel in whatever sport you're playing. And I suppose the same thing holds true for this fitness training, is that a person learns the discipline in order to be successful reaching their goals in the world of fitness. But discipline ought to be an overall thing in our lives, which controls all of our lives. And so as we've learned to be disciplined in say the fitness world, that spirit of discipline can be used, say, in the business world too. Would you agree? Does that make sense?
100%. The parallels are, between sports and then controlling, and mastering your physical body translate into business. I mean, it's all, in business, it's all about, doing certain things that need to be done, whether you feel like it or not, to get a desired outcome. And it's the same thing in fitness. So if you can master I believe you need to master your physical body and your health, again, not only are you going to have more energy and confidence to bring that translates into your business and every other area of life, but it creates that mindset. It's the old saying, like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you can't even control and discipline yourself with your body, then, how are you supposed to be a leader of a company and, lead your clients, lead your team, if you can't even lead yourself?
Interesting. What was that statement you made a little bit ago about consistency beats
frequency?
Frequency.
Yeah. And even intensity. I'm a big on intensity. Most people don't work out. And again, you want to be smart, right? You want to use good form in the beginning and not get hurt. But most people don't work nearly hard enough to create any result. Like building muscle, you need to actually create a stress on that muscle big enough to break down those muscle fibers so that it can actually, with proper, nutrition and recovery, can grow bigger and stronger. And I remember and again, most people, I've had clients in the past, they're lifting weights. And I was like, they're like, oh man, this is heavy. And I'm like, you could have done like 20 more, like it's way too light. And they don't understand. I remember my coach, Skip, when I was doing that contest, he was like, which rep do you think builds, if you're doing 12 reps, of an exercise, which repetition do you think builds the most muscle? I said the 12th. And he was like, wrong, the 13th. At this point, like, you have to push beyond what is comfortable in order to grow, just like in business or life. Like, you're not going to get what a lot of people want, this great life, this great, business, this great money, but they want to stay in their comfort zone. And everything we want is outside of our comfort zone, not inside of it.
Wow. And I honestly, speaking for myself, I've always been quite adverse to pain. And so, like on the ski hill, I'm not that good of a skier because I was afraid to take the chance to do the thing that would make me a better skier, but I'm afraid that I'll fall and get hurt. And in the exercise world, in the fitness world, to do that 13th one is that, oh man, this hurts.
Yeah.
And so we have to, fitness, business, whatever, we've got to condition ourselves to say, what is the big deal? No pain, no gain, no strain, no gain. And so be willing to press on even when it hurts. And that's, for me, where I draw the line, is that pain threshold is pretty low. So
yeah, nobody likes pain. That just makes you human. And
how do you get past that? How do you get past that? I suppose, and and that you talked about a coach. And so that's one of the jobs of the coach is to push,
Yeah.
push, to keep pushing. If we don't have the internal fortitude to push ourselves, then we need an outside source, I think, to push us forward. Or agree?
Yeah, I agree. First of all, I guarantee you're a better skier than me. I've gone once in my life, and I was the whole time falling down the hill and skis falling off and going back and getting it. So I think the first, I think it is important to develop a skill of pushing yourself, like we're talking about. But then at the same time, the goal, you want to focus on what your outcome is. Because sometimes and I fell into this where I was just almost became like, I'm just going to work hard and push myself because that, to prove I can. And I had another mentor say, Russ, you've got that skill down. When stuff hits the fan, you can take it, you can push through, your perseverance, you're relentless. That's a great skill. He said, now to go to the next level, you need to learn how to focus on leading your people and working smarter versus harder. It's kind of like in the gym. The goal isn't to work hard. The goal is, what do we want? We want to look good and feel good. And so a lot of people are doing these yes, you need to push yourself and challenge yourself, but you don't have to hurt yourself. A lot of people are doing these workouts where they're killing themselves, right? And at the end of the hour, they're on the ground and they're exhausted for the rest of the day, and they still don't look, and they're tired and they don't look good. They don't look how they want to look. So as the older I've got, and the more I realize how precious time is I actually want to put in the least amount of effort and get the biggest result. So I think that's the biggest thing I want to emphasize is getting what your outcome is, where you want to go, and then make a decision to go get that. And if your decision and if your commitment and your why is strong enough, you're going to figure out a way. The cheat code, the shortcut is to hire somebody like yourself as a coach, find somebody that has done what you want to do, and they're going to give you the shortcut to get there. You still have to do the work, but they can tell you how to get there.
Yeah, wow. Are you still progressing? Like you can do more now than you could a year ago, or are you at the point of it's a maintenance thing?
You're talking about in my body and my health?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, in general in life, I always believe you're growing or you're dying. So I'm always looking to grow, with my body. So, it's different. If I'm 49, I'll be 50 this year. It's different than when I was 39 and 29 and 19. Right? So I still train hard. I still, I think I look, pretty good and run circles around guys half my age, but, things I've had to adapt. Like, for example, I had early bone-on-bone arthritis. And I suffered with that for, about 10 years. I had a full hip replacement on my left hip 8 years ago.
Wow.
And then I just literally 2 weeks ago had resurfacing done on my right hip, which is a little less invasive. It creates more of a real hip. They call it the athlete's hip replacement. I wish I had done that on the first one. So I'm literally walking around on a cane right now. I haven't worked out in 2 weeks. I'm in a period of recovery. And so to answer your question, I don't lift as heavy as I used to. Because again, when I'm younger, it's just all about building muscle. You don't care if you're wrecking your back or, your hips or whatever. So, I definitely work hard. I believe in progressing. I always have short-term goals. I always tell people, like, when people come to work with me, I'm like, you want to make this a lifestyle. We talked about that earlier, right? But you need to have this is a lifestyle is not really motivating. So I believe in having little short-term goals. So yeah, I'm always setting stuff for myself. I don't compete in, bodybuilding anymore, but I'll set goals. Hey, I want to get super lean for the summer. I want to, add some muscle for the, winter. It can be a 5K, it can be a Spartan race. There's all kinds of different things, but I definitely believe in having something to challenge yourself and grow.
Wow. Are the people that you coach, are they as into it as you are?
Some of them are more into it. It's really interesting. I have, Bob is a new client of mine. He's been with me about 6 weeks. And it's funny because he reached out to me about 6, 7, 8 months ago. And, he was just not quite ready. He said, when I'm ready, I'll go all in. I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Dude has gone he's 60 years old, was drinking 2-3 drinks a night, eating whatever, working out. This is another thing. He was working out pretty regularly, but he had so much fat, and he was strong, but he had so much fat covering it up, because he wasn't eating right. And he's done everything and he travels all the time. Another excuse, I can't do it. I travel. He's traveling all over the place, busy executive in multiple businesses. And he has in 6 weeks went from a 44 down to a 34, 35 in his waist.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just, the fat is just pouring off, and he's obsessed, man. He's working out 6 days a week. You know, I give people a choice. I was like, all I need is 3 days a week. I tell people 3 days a week is plenty, but he's like, you know, I let him choose. I want to do 6. You know, I tried to do 7. I was like, you can't do 7. You got to at least have 1 day of recovery. That's, you know, your body actually needs that recovery. So yeah, I mean, you know, I meet people where they are, though. That's the most important thing is, you know, a lot of trainers and coaches, and I was like this early on, are like, this is my way, this is the way, this is what you got to do. And again, that can work for a while, but if it doesn't fit into that person's lifestyle, it's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So I meet people where they are. And I got another client, you know, Brooke and Sean, you know, they're a married couple. They just finished their first year with me, both crushed it. You know, Brooke, you know, the first day, she's like, look, if I can't eat my dessert, I'm not doing it. It's like, cool, let's fit your dessert in. You can have dessert every day. I say, really? Like, yeah, we'll fit it in. We'll figure it out.
I bet that blew his mind, right?
Yeah, and she's lost, you know, 3 dress sizes, and you know, now she has a plan. She goes, yeah, wow, this is pretty easy. Like, I can do it, and that's the most important thing. Is being able to do it for the rest of your life and
wow,
making it sustainable.
Right. And interesting, you said earlier on that you still eat pizza, and sounds like you indulge in some contraband foods on occasion.
I definitely do.
So how you still have that underlying discipline that says I can have 1 slice or 2 slices and that's it. I can have 1 dish of ice cream and that's it, that kind of thing. So you know where you draw the line, you know where to draw the line. But then because of your overall regimen, whatever negative effect that stuff might have on your body, it just probably falls away or washes away because of the positive that you're doing.
100%.
Overcoming that with the positive, I think, right?
100%. It's that kind of that 80-20 rule. And there's some, you know, technical physiological things, like the more muscle you have, the more fat you burn. You know, every pound of muscle you build, you know, my average male client puts on 10 to 20 pounds of muscle, you know, first year. Average female puts on 5 to 10 pounds of muscle. So every pound of muscle you build burns an extra 10 to 40 calories a day. So let's use 10 pounds of muscle. You're burning an extra, you know, 200, 300, 400 calories every single day. You're turning yourself into that fat burning machine. And it's kind of like a cumulative effect. Like, I'm not a huge guy. I'm 6'6", 220, but I have a decent amount of muscle. I'm lean, and it's almost unfair. It's kind of like when you invest in the beginning, it's really slow, but eventually, like a Grant Cardone, he's got so much passive. I call that passive fat burning. You're burning calories without doing anything. It's like passive income. So Grant's created so much passive income from his real estate. Could he mess it up? If he really tried, he could, but it's kind of like unstoppable. It's kind of the same thing with your body. The longer you do it, your metabolism, like my body just kind of eats up, you know, anything I put in it. And then also I could mess it up. Again, don't get me wrong. I can't eat as much as I want. I do control, like you talked about. Another thing is protein. You know, protein actually helps keep you fuller. It actually increases your metabolism. It's the only macronutrient that builds lean muscle. So that's, you know, one thing to help. But then also it's your beliefs. Like, I have a belief that no matter what I eat, I stay fit, lean, and healthy. And one of the most, and our beliefs are powerful. You know, they shape our physical. But one of the most powerful things I did, Russ, was got to a point where I said I allowed myself to eat anything I wanted. And I quit labeling foods good or bad. Because I used to try to be, okay, I'm going to be good, and then I'm going to be bad, I'm going to cheat, I'm at my cheat meal. And, you know, if I can't have it, then guess what? When I allow myself to have it, you know, because I'm an extreme guy, I would overeat as much as I could towards myself. And that's no good. So I just said, once I got to a point, man, I can have whatever I want. And it doesn't mean I'm going to eat junk all the time, because I honor my body. I know my goals, but, you know, I don't have that. If I can have it, it reduces the desire to have it, you know, and if I wanted to have it, if I don't, I don't. And I fit it into my calorie and, you know, protein intake for the day.
Wow. So I'm 75 years old, and, you know, I have Medicare program and stuff. And with my insurance, my Medicare insurance, I also get a membership to the YMCA.
Awesome.
So is that a place where a person can actually accomplish something?
Yeah, 100%.
So anything's better, doing something's better than doing nothing, I'm sure. And I'm in the doing nothing mode right now. And I bet a lot of our audience is in the nothing mode now. So anything is better than no thing, nothing.
Anything's always better than nothing for sure. You know, a lot of people will say advice, hey, just go walk. And I agree, like walking's better than nothing. Walking burns calories. It's good for your heart, you know, good for your, you know, your health, you know, if especially you put a podcast on, you get outside, get some vitamin D. But you know, in order, I always tell people you should do two types of exercise. Number one, something you enjoy. So actually do it. And then number two, strength training. And we already talked about the reasons why the strength training is so important.
And the strength training is literally the weights. Is that correct?
It can be weights, you know, it can be machines with it's resistance training. It can be, you know, bands. It can be your own body weight. You know, there's a lot. It can be a Pilates, you know, reformer. There's a lot of different ways, but it's that resistance training. Yeah, strength training.
And that's where the pain comes from, and having to exert myself. You know, I go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting here in Daytona Beach every week, and I'm in a group of about 20, 25 people, and every week somebody speaks, talks about, you know, what they're doing, what their business is like, and so on. And yesterday, it happened to be the manager of our local Crunch Fitness.
Oh, cool.
Gym. And so what he did for his presentation is he called upon his head trainer, personal trainer guy, to come in and simulate an evaluation of a new member coming in. They get a free evaluation by a personal trainer to see, you know, where the individual's at and what their goals are, and get some feedback and so on. And so that was really enlightening. And then you come along and hit me with all this same kind of stuff, and it's like, oh boy, Lord, I hear you talking. Come on.
Yeah,
You don't have
God's giving you some signs.
You don't have to shout in my ear. I get the message. And here comes the YMCA, or maybe we'll join Crunch. And my wife is probably needing it as badly as me, if not more, but nevertheless. So
yeah, I heard God gives us a feather, you know, a little feather reminder, and most of us ignore that. And then he gives you the brick.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you don't pay attention to the brick, yeah, which I'd say you're getting the brick now, you get the Mack truck. So
yeah, or end up with sick, and then it's like, oh boy, now I really got to make some changes, and better to make the change before the sickness comes, right? Try to avoid the sickness. So you started with the passion for fitness and health and so on, and through the years, and you can tell me how long that's been, when did you start turning that from just yourself, creating a business out of that, and how did you do that?
Yeah, it was fast. I mean, it was right after I won that contest. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. This is what I'm passionate about. I want to, you know, people started asking me more about, you know, nutrition and working out than they did debits and credits. And I was like, okay, I'm in the wrong business. And so I didn't know what it's another good lesson. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew my why, and that I was going to do it. So I got certified as a trainer. I started training. I reached out to people I knew. Hey, you want some help? Got my first 2 clients. And then I got, you know, I started doing online stuff. This is, you know, everybody's an online coach now. This is 2002. I was ahead of my time, and I just literally started, you know, writing for bodybuilding.com, selling nutrition workout plans for $40. You know, I created a DVD. I had to buy like 2,000 copies, DVD and VHS. You know,
yeah, those were the days. Yeah.
And I sold probably a few hundred, and, you know, ended up losing money on that. But my point is, I got in the game, and I just started taking action and, you know, kind of figuring it out. And, you know, I did that for about 6 months, and then I quit my job as a CPA, decided to go all in.
Now that had to have been a real piece of transition, because if I'm not mistaken, CPAs do fairly well financially.
You know, I was doing pretty well. I mean, it's funny, but I mean, I thought I was doing well. I was making like 75 grand a year, you know, which 18 years ago, I mean, that's still, that was decent money, but
yeah,
you know, it was kind of scary, but not really, because I don't know. I'm kind of guy, like, I always feel things are going to work out. And, you know, number one, number two, I was in my 20s, I was single, and I had some money saved up and my living expenses were nothing. So it wasn't a massive risk. You know, and I decided to go for it. I started doing the online. Then a buddy of mine told me about these personal training studios franchise he was in. You know, I examined it. I really liked it. And I went into that. You know, I've still got two personal training studios in Atlanta today. We have two of the top in the franchise. I have an amazing team, general manager that runs those. You know, I'm pretty hands off there. And then it's, you know, kind of funny. About 5 years ago, I started exploring the online coaching again. And, you know, I was kind of doing that on and off, and I created my Body Transformation University. Grant actually inspired me to. I was at GrowthCon too, only like he can. And I was pretty comfortable, right? I had my 2 studios making good money. And he, you know, he's talking from the stage, but I feel like he's talking directly at me. And he's like, if you can help more people and you're not, you're being selfish. It's your duty and obligation. And yeah, you hear Grant saying that. And,
you owe it. You owe it to
so it inspired
your family, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, so I created Body Transformation University, modeled it off of Cardone University, which, you know, I'm on. I'm sure you obviously use that and with your clients. And, you know, it's Cardone U for your body. And then I couple that with online coaching and, you know, group coaching, private coaching. I have a private group. You know, and it works great. I mean, I have clients all over the country, all over the world, have an amazing community. You know, and then when COVID happened, you have to always be innovating. COVID happened, we got shut down. Right? Gyms and churches, the most dangerous places, got shut down first. And so it's like, well, we got to do something. And so we said, let's try Zoom personal training. And so we had to figure out how to give a safe, effective workout over Zoom. And guess what? A lot of our clients had zero equipment at home. And we figured it out. And actually that part of our business has continued to grow too. So, you know, how I started is I made the decision, I made the commitment, just like anything, started figuring out. You know, I would have gotten business coaches sooner. You know, if I, you know, going back, you know, I just trying to, like, I'm a massive action taker. Like, I'm a ready, fire, aim guy. And that served me really well. And again, I think the being willing to take action is more important. But again, it gets back to it. Like, find a mentor, find a coach that has done what you want to do. And that's the roadmap.
How in the world do you do personal training online without the equipment?
It sounds weird, but man, I give my team credit for that. They figured it out. Yeah. And we have climbing, you know, to our credit, my team's credit, we have people in California, Texas, New York, Australia, Canada, UK that are doing, you know, you think about it, I'm sure they have hundreds of personal trainers in their city, and they tell us it's the best personal training experience they have, even virtually.
No kidding. That's quite an accomplishment. Pretty cool. Yeah. It keeps you going, keeps your people going, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's fun.
So it sounds like you transitioned from the CPA world into the fitness business world without a whole lot of trouble. There was some things that happened along the way, of course, but
plenty of challenges along the way.
You overcame them. So if we're going to talk to somebody who maybe they're not in the fitness world, but they've got a dream of some kind of a way of improving their life, family-wise, business-wise, money-wise, advice that you could pass on to an individual?
Yeah, I would say, so first of all, I would say to know their outcome and don't get married to the vehicle. And what I mean by that, you know, I started you know, I do business consulting, you know, some, and I started a financial freedom passive income mastermind. And one of my members is like, you know, he's got these 3 businesses, which, you know, you're trying to, you know, 3 businesses, he's the operator in all of them. And he's, you know, kind of running around. He's got this one business, he's got 2 of them that are profitable. One of them is losing money, but the one he's losing money is like, my dream is to get this thing where it creates financial freedom so we can go on missions and help other people. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's your real dream is to go on missions and help other people. Why are you married to this one vehicle being that when this other vehicle might be a better way to get there? See what I'm saying?
The one that's working.
One that's actually working. And so what I would say to that person is know what your real dream is. if your dream is to go out and start this business, specific business, cool, do it and go all in. But if your dream is to have freedom so you can do this and you're thinking that business vehicle is the thing, then I would just tell that person to consider, like, don't get married to the vehicle. And for a lot of people, Jared Glant talks about this, like, a lot of people think they have to be an entrepreneur to reach their goal, or a business owner, and you don't. Most people aren't cut out to be entrepreneurs, business owners. It's hard. You don't, it's hard. It's hard to be an employee, work for somebody else. It's harder to work for yourself, and you got everything on the line. You got all the risk. Most people that become their own business owners end up working more and making less money. So, there's nothing wrong with getting under a, umbrella like a Grant Cardone, working in an organization where there's enough room for you to fulfill your financial goals, but, without taking the risk and, all that kind of stuff. If I had an opportunity like that when I was younger, I may have never been an entrepreneur. I would have been an entrepreneur, potentially. And there's nothing wrong with that. So that's the first thing. But then if you do decide, hey, it is my dream to do my own thing. Again, I would be 20-year ago me would say, just go for it, start taking action. 49-year-old me says, really take a look. Is there a marketplace for what you want to do? Because is there a demand? A lot of people, they're passionate about doing this thing, but if nobody wants your thing, then it's, you want to make sure you're doing something where there's a demand versus just following your passion. Again, you can do well following your passion, but, I believe in, again, working smarter, not harder. And then you need to learn sales and marketing, and you need to have people on your team that are great at sales and marketing, because leads, prospects are the lifeblood of your business. You need to learn, my opinion, public speaking, how to communicate well. We talked about it before we got on the call, getting on stages and communicating, being able to share your story and your mission passionately and clearly. You need to learn leader. And then if you want to scale, you need leadership. I was stuck for so long. I had these businesses that were like making money, doing well, but I'm like, everything is all about me. I had employees, but, I was making all the decisions. I was doing everything. And, I got to the point where I said, no, I'm going to focus on helping my employees win, developing them so that they can be leaders and make decisions, and run the business without me. And that's what allows you to really start, scaling out.
And get some freedom in the process.
Freedom in the process.
And
make more money. My businesses have grown. I'm doing less, and my businesses are bigger and making more money. So that's pretty cool.
You've been able to train up people according to your vision, mission, core values, and so on, so that you can trust them to run the show, to run the businesses, while you are stepping back and pursuing other things, correct?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man.
And I think it's too, again, knowing what you want. Like, ultimately, I keep going back to that. A couple of years ago, I changed, like, I think so many people, they set their goals and they're charging up this mountain. So entrepreneurs, it's like, did you ever take time are you charging up the right mountain? Like, what's really important in your life? So a couple of years ago, I changed my goal setting process and started with, like, what do I want my life to look like? And and I want to have, an amazing life. I want to make an impact. I want to make a lot of money. But I want to have time, I want to be healthy. I want to have a great relationship with my wife and my kids. I want to have time. I want to have freedom. And so I've structured my businesses and my investments, to offer that. And a lot of people think, oh, I got to build this $100 million, $1 billion business. If that's what you want, cool. But, like a lot of, lifestyle businesses get a bad rap. Oh, you're not building a real business. But, if you want freedom and time, then there's nothing wrong with, creating your business that supports that, So I think each person has to figure out what they want. And that's been something big for me. Like, I've had great mentors, along the way, Grant Cardone, one of them, and, Tony Robbins and, other individual coaches. But what I've learned is you need to, learn from them and, follow their guidance based on getting where you want to go. But you gotta, don't try to live their life. Live the life that you want, and it's right. It's going to fulfill you.
Right. When you say know your outcome, is that synonymous with purpose, or is that different?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all goes together. I think knowing, like, ultimately what you want your life to look like every day. and then, and creating, again, using whatever vehicles are necessary to get there. So for example, my purpose is, helping people get the health and energy that they need so they can fulfill their purpose on earth and live a life they love.
Uh-huh.
And I get that fulfillment, through my coaching and working with my fitness clients. Right. But, then we invest in a lot of real estate. I like real estate. It's cool. And I'm looking at other businesses to buy right now, and the guy, I'm working with a broker, and he's like, what interests you the most? I said, what interests me the most is the business, as long as it's an ethical, good business that has the most amount of profit and the least amount of my time.
Yeah.
I said, I get my fulfillment is, and purpose is I'm living that. I've got that through the fitness and health coaching, so the other stuff, it's not, I want it to be strictly most money, least amount of time, so I can have more freedom.
Right. Yeah. It's
and I'm learning, sorry to cut you off. There's businesses that exist like that. Is we think that, we always have to be the operator and do everything. And true entrepreneurs, they're not the operator, they're the owner, and they have a team and systems running their businesses.
And that's where the leadership comes into play.
The leadership
to be able to train up people to entrust with the operation of the business. What was I going to say? Forgot something important, no doubt. Anyway,
sorry, bro, I'll think of one other thing. One other, I think it's add value is to all these, people that are entrepreneurs or want to be. So many people go all in on their business, right? Forever. And in the beginning, to build it up, you got to go all in. And Elon Musk, that's gone pretty well from him, right? He sold PayPal and put 100% of it into, his next two companies, and he's done extremely well. Most people, that's probably not a good plan. And if you have a business, no matter how big it gets, if something goes wrong and things change, economies change, demand changes, you can lose it all. So I'm a huge believer in having some kind of passive income. There's nothing like, having, when you get that first check or deposit and you didn't have to do anything for it, that's addictive. So it's a game for us.
What a feeling, right? Yeah.
It's a game. I want to increase my passive income every single month. And, and again, that creates freedom. Grant talks about it. It creates courage. When you have money coming in passively, you have more courage to go out and take chances, in the marketplace.
Yeah. Right. And you're an individual who has reached a level of success plateau, and you could plateau and just stay there and say, I'm just gonna coast. I'm just gonna go to Charleston and hang out at the beach. But it sounds to me like you've got the internal drive. It's like, what else is there? What can I do next? How can I grow even more and create even more and become even more, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's, again, look, I want my freedom. I want to enjoy life, but like you could only, as a Jordan Peterson, he's like sitting on a beach drinking a margarita is cool, but like that can't be your life, right? You need to have some kind of purpose and, be in the game and make a difference. I also believe like, to who much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
And, I want to make a difference. I want to get to the end of my life and, have God say, well done, good and faithful servant. Ed Mylett talks about, he says when his version of heaven is he gets to heaven, he meets the man God made him to be, and they're identical twins. The opposite of that is you meet the person you were supposed to be and you're complete strangers. And that's his version of hell. And it's a pretty cool thing to live by. And it always, it always keeps you, I believe having something to look forward to is so important. It keeps you alive. It keeps you energetic. So, I want to live, well past 100. My goal used to be 100, but man, there's people smoking that now. And with all the modern, medicine technology, I want to live as long as I can, God willing, but I want to make a difference. I just don't want to be sitting around, taking up space.
You want to be productive.
Be productive
time, and not just sitting there at the beach drinking the margaritas, but being productive and being involved, engaged in life and engaged in other people. How can people get a hold of Russ Yeager?
Yes, so they can get a hold. First of all, they can get my my book, Live Longer, Feel Better, and Look Great Naked. That is the title of the book. Let's try to see if I have.
Okay, let's put this one down. Live longer, feel better, and what else?
Look great naked.
Look great naked.
And they can get that they can get a free copy, digital copy at freenakedbook.com. That is the URL. I know it's funny.
It's freenakedbook.com.
Yeah.
Free naked book. Are you writing this down, people, online? Are you taking notes here? freenakedbook.com.
Yep. And that goes through my exact process of, how I do everything, and how, 49 years old, I'm able to, I think, look pretty good, keep abs 365 days a year, feel good, be healthy, and also actually enjoy life, and, eat normal foods. And then if somebody wants to eat, I've got my Instagram just under my name, Russ Yeager. If somebody wants to reach out to me by email, the best email is teamruss@russyeager.com. And then if they just want to put in the subject, saw on Russ Thomas podcast,
Talks, yeah.
That'll come directly to me.
So the website is russyeager.com.
RussYager.com, yeah, and they can just do teamruss@russyeager.com is the email.
Is the email address, right? Okie dokie. Sounds pretty good. I think I'm gonna have to get that book and start dazzling the world with how well I look. But
let's go, man.
it's gonna hurt. I know it's gonna hurt. But then being sick hurts more, folks.
Yeah. Pick your heart,
just keep
right?
that in mind. Which hurt would you rather have? The one
Pick your
that's
heart,
gonna
pick
get
your
you
heart.
someplace, or the one that's gonna tear you down and ultimately kill you,
Yeah.
So anyway, appreciate the time that we've spent. I'm glad it worked out for us to be together today and to have this chat. And I'm certain you've been an inspiration, not just to me, but those in the audience that have been watching or just listening onto the audio, to hear your story and how you persevered, transformed yourself into what you are now. And the fact is that you're not stopping, you're continuing on. And that's a real trick and a real tip, folks, for us to keep on going, keep on keeping on, and there's always more to do. We have the breath of life. We can still be productive, and that's what we're supposed to be. We're here for success. We're engineered for greatness and success, and it's up to us to bring that to pass. Get us in the place where that can happen, right? So I'm going to let you go, folks. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Until we see each other again, I'll say over and out. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hi, thanks for being here today for another episode of Money Talks. I hope it was informative and encouraging to you. If it struck a chord in your heart, or if you have any questions or comments, please let us know. Visit us at rstcoachingacademy.com, call 386-286-2450, or send an email to email@RST Coaching Academy. Thanks again, and until next time, be great.